Arrow up and down.
Okay, let's get into it.
On December 1st, 1948, 16-year-old Neil Day was riding horses with a friend along Somerton Beach in Adelaide, Australia.
I didn't want to jump into the story this quickly, but I did want to say it sounds fun to ride horses on the beach with a friend.
I rode a horse one time, I think it was in Hawaii. I had a horse whose nickname was Crazy. That was actually his name. And then he went rogue and then tried to buck me off and ran into a little creek.
What happened to you?
I'd like to think I survived.
Uh-oh. What if I just started fading away right now? What if your world just started dissolving into vapor?
Oh, like I was being hypnotized by Mysterio?
Yeah, you're Bruce Willis at the end of The Sixth Sense, and like it all just. Wait a minute.
It just cuts to a montage of a bunch of times where it's obvious I've been dead.
I suddenly remember all of my bones breaking.
My mother screams.
Your mother was with you?
Yes.
When they passed the body of a man lying in the sand, the friends didn't pay much attention, thinking the man was simply napping on the beach. When they came back to find the man in the exact same position, they discovered he was actually dead. The man was clean-shaven, wearing a dry and neatly pressed suit and tie. Oddly, all of the tags of his clothes had been removed, and he was found with no belongings or form of identification. His fingerprints were not in any database, and no one came forward to identify the man.
Spy. Probably.
Why do you immediately go spy?
Well, I don't know. How robust are fingerprint databases at this point? Like nowadays, they get everybody's little fingerprints when they're a baby?
In the first episode, I actually posited I believed that every baby was fingerprinted when they were born, and therefore their fingerprints were in a database. I don't know if that's actually in place now. Either way, I don't know if they did that to this man. Obviously, they didn't because there was no identifying marks. Or he had them burned off like that machine they have in Men in Black.
Men in Black.
Which always looks so goddamn
I
painful.
feel like we've referenced that on this show before,
We have.
but hey, 100th episode, no rules.
Callback, baby. My mom also
what
said that the scanner thing at the grocery store, she said if I put my fingers on it, it would erase my
Your
fingerprints.
mom's funny as hell.
She once took a wig, put it hanging out of the washing machine, and told me my mom had been abducted and that my real mom was stuck in the washing machine and I could go look for proof. And then she showed me the washing machine and I saw the wig sticking out and I cried.
Your mom's the funniest lady I've ever met.
A post-mortem revealed the man had a strikingly enlarged spleen and internal bleeding in his stomach and liver. There were no indications of violence and no traces of poison. Symptoms of poisoning such as vomiting, diarrhea, or convulsions were also not present. The coroner also found a pasty in his stomach. In the official publication of the investigation, the coroner wrote, quote, "I am unable to say who the deceased was. I am unable to say how he died or what was the cause of death," end quote.
I wouldn't say this guy blew it. He's examining an alien spy corpse.
You think it's an alien? Is that one of the theories?
No, it's not, but I'm just saying it's a very, I can't think straight. I'm gonna take this off because
Are you toasty?
it's season
Why are you
finale.
wearing this?
I don't know. Season finale, I could do what I want, I suppose.
I've never even been back there.
You haven't? Have you ever left that chair?
No. They turned the lights out and I remain.
Like an animatronic?
So he is a bad coroner. Whatever.
I don't know if
He's got nothing to go off of.
He was dealt pretty bad cards.
Yeah.
In January 1949, a month after the body was found, a suitcase was uncovered in the cloakroom of the Adelaide railway station. The suitcase, dropped off the day before the body was found, contained, among other odds and ends, clothing with the labels removed, and a waxed thread not sold in Australia, but of the type used to repair the trousers found on the body. Many of these objects indicated that the man, whoever he was, had recently been in the United States. The name Keene, ending in E, and Keene, ending in N, were found on some of the items. According to an Adelaide newspaper, authorities concluded the name Keene had been left on the belongings to intentionally obscure the man's true identity.
Look, I'm not a spy. I have never
Don't
been.
need to disclaim that.
I'm
Everyone
not a
knows
spy.
that.
Perhaps the easier way to obscure the identity would be to not put any names on anything.
Could you imagine your gangly ass chasing down another spy through a railway
I
station?
could do it.
How ridiculous that would
I
look.
could do it. I'd be like Jaws from
Your feet
from the
bounding
Bond
over little children's
films.
heads. That's amazing.
I could do that. I'm very fast.
You fell while walking.
I
And
was
Griffith-
running.
And you also fell while walking.
There was a big rock, and I walked into it.
So
We don't need
anytime
to
there's
get
any
into
element that's in the...
That's
your pathway.
For the record, that's the only time I've fallen in my life. How many bones have you broken, dipshit?
0.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Hey, I mean, we never broken any bones.
In April 1949, police came upon a mysterious clue that had been overlooked in the 4+ months since the body was found. Sewn into the waistband of the man's pants was a secret pocket, which contained a tightly rolled piece of paper with the Persian words Tamam Shud typed on it. The paper appeared to be torn from an 11th century book of Persian poems, the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam, or simply the Rubaiyat. Themes of the Rubaiyat center around life's transience, and in English, Tamam Shud roughly translates to the end or finished. The discovery of the secret pocket and its haunting message was enough for Coroner Thomas Cleland to declare the man's death was, quote, not natural, end quote. This Tamam Shud thing should shed some light on this situation.
I love it.
What do you think about that? A secret pocket and a secret little note from a rare book.
So, you know, I love that whoever is responsible for this, whether it be the corpse itself or someone who murdered this person, they really could have had a successful job in the current era as like an ARG advertising agent. You ever get sucked down one of those rabbit holes?
I mean, sure.
You
they're
like
fun.
ARGs? Alternate reality games?
Sure, man. they're
Movies
great.
coming out, you send some videos out onto the internet, get people, what's going on here? What's going on here? Oh, there's a new Fast and the Furious film?
How about instead of talking about alternate reality, we talk about reality?
I don't care for it.
I'm surprised at you, to be quite honest, because you were a big fan of Spy Tales. I'm serving you one up on a platter here.
I'm still enjoying the story.
Yes.
What do you want from me?
I don't know. Just like maybe
Yahoo!
maybe some insight into what it may mean.
We don't know. But it's a
We
book.
never know.
I know.
We're 100 episodes. Yeah.
On July 23rd, 3 months after police discovered the Tamam Shud paper, a businessman who had read about the unidentified body in the paper came to police with a copy of the Rubaiyat. The man claimed that he found the book in the backseat of his car after parking it near Somerton Beach with the windows down. Sure enough, a section had been torn out of the last page of the book that perfectly fit the piece found in the unknown man's pants. On the back cover of the book, police discovered 5 lines of letters, apparently a secret code, and what appeared to be a phone number. To this day, the code has never been cracked, and the Australian Navy determined it to be virtually unbreakable, explaining, quote, there is an insufficient number of letters for definite conclusions to be based on analysis. The letters do not constitute any kind of simple cipher or code. A reasonable explanation would be that the lines are the initial letters of words of a verse of poetry or such like, end quote.
Yeah, no, I got nothing. It's a bunch of letters.
You know, I actually, when we first covered this case, I did pore over this code for a bit, and I don't have any code cracking capability, so I looked at it for probably a good hour, strained my little eyeballs, and was like, mysterious.
While the code failed to yield any new leads, the phone number found in the back of the Rubaiyat led investigators to 27-year-old nurse Jessie Jo Thompson's doorstep, just hundreds of meters from where the body was found 8 months prior. Thompson admitted to once owning a copy of the Rubaiyat, but claimed she'd given the copy to a man named Alfred Boxall. Upon investigation, Boxall turned out to still be alive and in possession of a fully intact copy of the Rubaiyat. By this time, the still anonymous body had been buried, but not before a plaster cast had been made for investigative purposes. According to Detective Sergeant Lionel Lean, when Jo Thompson was shown the cast in the hopes of identifying it, she looked like she was about to faint. Nevertheless, Thompson denied knowing the man. Thompson died in 2007, still claiming she did not know the man found on the beach.
Lots to unpack there.
Yeah. The book thing is a bit of an enigma, obviously.
How many people have a copy of this book?
Maybe it's a page turner.
I
don't
guess
know.
so. What's interesting to me is that Jo Thompson clearly recognizes this person. No one sees a picture of a person, faints, gets back up and goes, I don't know that person.
Well, she was shown a cast of a dead man's face. I don't know. Maybe she's got some hang-ups, man. Perfectly normal. I don't think she's suspicious.
With an unnamed dead body, an 11th century book of Persian poems, and an uncrackable code, it's time to lay out some theories surrounding what happened to the Somerton Man. Our first theory is that the Somerton Man was responsible for his own death and killed himself. This could mean he put the paper reading Tamam Shud in his own pocket to be found as a sort of suicide note. Supporting this theory are the similar elements of another suicide, that of immigrant George Marshall. In June 1945, Marshall was found dead in Mosman, Australia, after poisoning himself with barbiturates. With his corpse was another copy of the Rubaiyat, while another dead man turning up in Australia with the same collection of Persian